2 cents worth, right? We don't make too much.
Even I looked it up 2 days ago. Free trial, we make 11. We've made 11 million this year.
Yeah.
Of the 270.
Yeah.
Like it's not that lucrative. It is lucrative, but not.
Yeah. But if you look at our like dynamic email engine, right? MP is only 1.7.
Okay. So
we deal with a lot smaller numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to take what I can get from where I can get it.
No. I totally.
Our static nurtures, so our old accelerator journeys was around 358.8K this year. In 2019, when they were fully up and running, they've been down for half of the year. So that's like a full year of our old nurtures live and what they were bringing in. So and that's like all Bofu content pretty much. I don't think we had any Mofu nurtures live, did we, Kieran? It was only the accelerator stuff.
Day.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just where that kind of thinking is coming from.
Okay. Then we'll keep it on the list for now. And then we'll have to just do like a full assessment, solution it a little bit, and then figure out like how long it's really going to take to build it, and that's where we make another decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about that too.
Sure.
If we do funnel position switching in the awareness engine, do we still the nurture functionality then just becomes if you want to plan a journey, then you can make it nurture. And this is how they'll qualify for it. And if you want just the engine to make the choice for you, then you will have your content in the engine.
So that was what we said was a flag that we could say if you are in EMEA who care less about controlling the story for the journey, you can just serve a consideration decision if you hit a points threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Rest of the world, they want more control.
Or like an ABM.
And so they'll move them into the nurture. So you're available for consideration decisions, put you into the nurture. So, but it's automatic as opposed to there being a form fill or an event scan.
I just don't know if it'll work that way. If we can have different entry mechanisms for different
one region versus another.
Yeah, I think it's got at this point. I think it's got to be kind of the same across the board.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Maybe there's a way we could do all the processing, and then there's like a final query we could put it in. But I would.
I mean, if that point scoring thing happens, right, the nurture quests not being available for EMEA how we want them right now wouldn't be a blocker because they're not available to our stakeholders right now.
Right.
So as and when they can be made available how we want to use them, that will be a benefit, it will be an add, but it won't be a takeaway or a sorry you can't do this anymore stakeholders thing. You know, like the support level they get won't be any different. It will just be nice to have it for ABM, for the sales piece we were talking about yesterday, right?
Yeah. But from what I heard yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, just so in EMEA, you just want an automatic switch to consideration decision content, but you are not as concerned as to how you tell the story. You don't want to set up have the overhead of servicing and nurture.
Yeah, we don't want to do like you get email one, you get email two.
Okay, and that's fine, just so we understand the functionality.
Yeah. There are some use cases for it potentially like ABM, but...
Right. So now ABM and like event follow-up aside, just core marketing.
Core nurture. Yeah, that like dynamic moving up and down the funnel, changing persona as you go.
Okay, so that's a consideration for us, like when we're talking to your dev team.
Yeah.
To say like what's possible and what's not.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Or if it's in this country, just start serving content and these countries don't.
That might be possible in the future when Sean pulls things apart, but for now I think it's kind of one engine to rule them all. You know?
Okay.
And also we have to consider if that is a scalable solution for us or not. So it's the other part of it.
Okay, well, it's on we are recording this, by the way, again, so it's on the recording, so we're all clear. I will likely have all of these transcribed also, just because they're easier to read rather than watching a 4-hour video.
Somebody writes 1D to rule them all.
Okay, do you guys just want to go down?
Context, it sounds kind of bad.
So without ranking any of this yet, do you want to just go down and try and figure out how we can do some of these things, or at least figure out general functionality of it? So just the approval flow simplification. So I know that came up yesterday. We have approvals for basically everything. Some functionality have shorter approvals, but things like the awareness approval process. What I heard yesterday, and this is what I want to get either on the board or documented somewhere because I don't have a computer, was that you wanted the clients to submit the content, be able to see a live render using an FPO image with holding the formatting on screen. They attach the image, they submit, you upload, approve, and activate, and upon activate, they get back your offer is live. There's no middle approval.
Okay,
that is That is all possible, save now we have to problem solve for the HTML piece.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that's that piece. The approval flow, that's a Lightning component change that we give to the other Sam on the team that can handle that. So that one's, I think we get. No HTML code we're going to come back to because that's hard. Auto creation of name captures, and I think this is a Kieran McGill thing. Is this where we have to use Heroku to do that? Is that how this works?
Not necessarily. You could, because you already have a connection to Marketing Cloud, right, with your middleware, you could just fire it back there. It's going to be a bit convoluted to get it back.
We don't have there's no middleware in the architecture. It's an API called the Marketing Cloud. Sales Cloud to Marketing Cloud.
I thought Sam Whitmore had built some middleware to replace Jitterbit, but it's cool. Yeah, you'd have to fire it to either a script activity or microsite page, which would use the AMP script to create the name capture for you, which is one kind of hooky, nasty way of doing it. It uses the Marketing Cloud connector, so Andrew Hogg will be aware of that, and you have to be a bit wary with Mato in terms of API calls if this guy is one solution. So that's one thing without changing the current architecture. The other thing is to fire an API call out to a Heroku instance, a Heroku server, and that would create it for you, and that would be probably a bit more in real time. Now, we do, with the HTML generator, we currently have no access to campaigns because, they want you to do least permissions possible.
Right.
But once you have the user, as we kind of all know, it's easy to add little bits onto it. Read-write access on campaign would be understandable. There'd be a good business case for it, so I don't think there'd be any problem getting it. Then you'd fire a call to a server that would be listening, and it would fire back to you. I'm guessing it's all behind SSO, that would be fine. It's just in terms of trusted, you have to, because we're also dealing with the FSO situation, you just have to be very careful or think about if incoming traffic, the server's expecting incoming traffic from within its own application. So we'll probably have to do some fudging around to allow it to accept incoming calls from a different location. But in theory, it's totally feasible to basically you have two choices, both API calls, one to one system, one to another.
Okay. And that Heroku from what you said though, the Heroku solution, is that a better solution because it's already connected to Org62 and it's just a permission set change? Or do we want to go broker a deal with Mato about increasing API calls to Marketing Cloud?
I would say go for Heroku because it gets you out from underneath that situation. And plus it'll give you better error reporting. It'll be easier for you to get, errors back into your system, more detailed errors. And also, if errors are unaccounted for, we have server error logs that come to our team, or if we go to your team, which would tell us, of these weird, shadowy, miscellaneous errors, what's happening. Whereas if Marketing Cloud falls over, who's monitoring the server files? Not us, because it's somebody at product that doesn't speak to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we can, so in terms of name capture creation, we can in Marketing Central have it auto-generate like the name of the name capture, the description, the required fields, the data set that needs to be passed over for creation, right?
Yes.
So like email type equals, which is the funnel validation stuff, attribution stuff. So Marketing Cloud would require some development, not Marketing Cloud, I take that back. Marketing Central, Sales Cloud would require some development to create those values that we would then pass to something that passes it to Heroku to do the creation of the campaign, provided the Heroku login has the right permissions. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And today, Kieran, how are you doing that in D today?
We're using the Marketing Cloud hooky route, but because it's in Marketing Cloud, it's not as hooky.
Yeah.
It's only when you're coming from an external system, right? And you have to fire off a microsite page and wait for some weird AMP script language to do something and then pull it back into Apex and
It'd be no good.
And also, I guess the volume, if we put this in, will increase.
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge burden because you're talking about template creation. Mato only really raise an eyebrow when you're talking about, I want to make 3,000 API calls a day to adjust campaign